well, do I still have it up on the browser? One second. Sorry, it's a bit slow. No, I don't have it up anymore. But it was under the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development.
Okay.
Housing home. Like the top of the URL that was in the screenshot is hud.gov/program and then something with OF, probably office of something. And it's the multifamily property housing search for multifamily. And this didn't fall under that, and this didn't fall under the other searching. Oh, it's under program offices /housing /multifamily _housing dash probably __ renting /multifamily housing property search. And that's the database that will give you the actual thing. This specific listing is new but it's the same listing overall, and they updated it for a disclaimer about the CARES Act and eviction notices and things. That was this week. I got an email about that from the government. I'm on a bunch of mailing lists and things, so I try to check. And FHA insured is also applicable to these ones, and this complex wasn't on the list for that. So that means it's not a fully FHA, fully HUD facility like the old schooler kind of facilities that to my understanding, or a fully assistive facility for the disabled, for the working disabled to live on their own with like a nurse who shows up a couple times a week, because I'm actually ineligible from that as well. They have a facility in like Lacombe, I think, for that I was referenced with the social services earlier this year, and I've actually spoken to myself on the phone with in years past that and spoke to Slidell about it for the government building, and they basically were like, yeah, don't bother them. That's just for mentally deficient, basically just mentally retarded individuals, and a couple individuals with like Down syndrome. It's only like, at least for the social services PhDs, for the trial work experience with the employment office in Slidell, they said that they knew of like 6 or 7 people because they are all underneath the employment office. These PhD social workers are the ones who are the top of the hierarchy, and they oversee these individuals at this complex. And it's just like one building, like one like a car could drive up, and it's like two stories or something. And they all, none of them have any actual, because the requirement is like serious medical complications and things like that, that I do. Even if I'm intelligent, that's a specific facility for like them.
Well, I know we are with the HUD program. I know I do have residents here that do have sitters, nurses and things that come stay with them, and they have access to. I don't know anything about what kind of Social Security you have.
Do you know what kind they have? If they, if you don't have to name names or anything, but just so I can get an idea for which types of residents live here.
I have some on Social Security. I have some on Social Security and SSDI. I have,
Mike Allen.
I do have some that sitters come.
You have permission to enter 4108.
And, we do follow the HUD laws and everything. So,
do you know specifically which HUD? Like, is there like a contract with HUD that you guys could like print me off so that I could see exactly like which type it is? Because that would help a lot if I knew.
Okay.
Something
Ms. Bodin, I'm actually the property manager, and I've heard parts of the conversation. We aren't specifically through HUD. We do have HUD rules that we have to follow.
Yeah.
And we do accept like project-based vouchers.
Wait, through HUD. Who are you through if you're not through HUD?
We have the affordable housing program or the tax credit program. Is
So
another.
it's called tax credit program. Do you know like the acronym for it?
LIHTC is often used for that. It's LIHTIC.
LIHTIC. Okay, that's a tax credit program.
Right.
And the sorry, what was the other thing you were going to say?
So what is with that program? It's governed through the IRS.
Oh, I think I'm understanding now what the issue is. Yeah, that would make sense. If it's through the IRS, then yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I don't pay taxes. I can't even pay taxes. So.
And we do accept applicants that have Social Security or disability, or survivor benefits as their sole source of income. We do have residents like that, and we do get inspected by the state. We also get inspected, by different agencies through our mortgage company to make sure that we are, remaining in compliance.
Do you guys have a specific federal mortgage? Cause
Like a federally backed mortgage?
Yes,
Is that what you're asking about?
Yes.
So they do have some of the funding through federally backed mortgages. Mm-hmm.
So do you know which one?
Off the top of my head, I do not.
Because it had specific entries like for that.
Right. I pulled up the website you were talking about. I saw like there was a Vita View and North Park and Terabella.
Mm-hmm.
I saw those ones, and they had the specific like mortgages that were backed on there. And at the bottom, you were talking about the section where it was saying like project-based vouchers
Mm-hmm.
and the Indian reservation vouchers and things like that. And it says they will not be listed on
That specific one,
right.
yeah.
And so since we accept project-based vouchers, that's why we're not on that list, because we do accept those.
Okay, and for your understanding, what is a project-based voucher?
That is going to be a program through the Louisiana Housing Corporation.
Wait, sorry. I'm slow with writing.
No, that's quite all right. Take your time.
Based voucher. Okay.
And that's through Louisiana Housing Corporation.
Is that just called like LA Housing Corporation?
Some people refer to it as LHC.
LHC, which is the Louisiana Housing Corporation. So it's independent from the state itself?
It actually is a program through the state. And what happens with that is they accept those that have Social Security or disability as their sole source of income that would otherwise be homeless. And so what they do is they figure out what the median rents are, and that's where the HUD comes into play, because you have the fair market value. So the total voucher cannot be more than what the fair market value is for rent. And then based off of that information and what the applicant has for income, they will determine how much LHC will pay on behalf of the resident, and then how much the resident is responsible for the portion of the rent.
Okay, I think I've spoken to the guys that you're talking about before, and it was the same issue of they don't do it unless your family's like dead, and they're not. Do you know of any? Do you know of any with them, with your experience in the past with dealing with them? If there was any, if these individuals who would be homeless otherwise, if they had living family members, or if they.
Yes, we do. That has been my experience, because I've worked at this community as well as one in New Orleans that accepted the same project-based vouchers. Their goal is to allow those that are disabled to live independently. So
Even with their family being alive and able to support them.
Yes. So I understand if there's some legal issues, with you and your family and their responsibility to take care of you, that may not be something that you're allowed to do. Without looking at that kind of documentation, I don't know for certain. But, I certainly understand what you were saying earlier about, your family's responsibility, and if they are receiving any kind of income for your care.
Yeah, they have been. I've been paying them $250 a month. Yeah.
So I can understand their perspective that if you're living here and you're still giving the money for your care, that would be double dipping essentially. I understand what you're saying.
Even if I am living here and I'm not paying them directly anything, they're obligated to do it. That's what the judge said. So it ended up not mattering because with the LHC, these individuals who were disabled, were they also working, or were these the individuals who would have had a caregiver?
Some work, others don't.
Okay, if they were the ones who worked, then it's very unlikely to be me. But do you guys have a specific contract with them that I could have a copy of so I could talk to them about it when I call them?
So there is a contract. It's between the owner and Louisiana Housing Corporation, and that basically sets aside the number of units in our community that we allow those project-based vouchers on, or we accept them on.
Okay.
So that's not necessarily something that's public record, but I can certainly get you the information from Louisiana Housing Corporation and the contact that we deal with directly, so that way you can talk to them and ask questions that you have.
Okay. Could I also have the number of the owner just to ask them if they would be willing to provide a copy, just so I could see if there's numbers on it or anything, because that ends up being pretty helpful, especially if it's not something public that the government can just pull up. Because a lot of other different offices, they can't legally talk to each other without you providing them the information. So they end up literally not being able to do anything, and it ends up being them, either just closing a case or getting an escalation with law enforcement that they don't want to do, because there'd be me just bugging them and malfeasibly using resources, and them being basically telling me you have to get something that's in writing or something like that. I've had that experience in the past. I haven't tried with this specifically, but I just, from previous experience, it's been that way with medical care.
Yeah, so with the owners, it's a group of investors that own the property, and so what I can do is reach out to our attorney and see if that's something that they can provide for you.
Okay. And it would just be the contract. I don't think I would ever need anything else. It would just be the thing that shows, they have an actual contract with the LHC, and then they could pull anything that they needed past that I don't need to see, because I don't want to put you guys out on any data for anybody who's lived here or anything like that. Just the basic thing that was signed, because I don't know much about law, but in my experience, that seems to be all that's necessary. Usually I can find stuff like that on the internet, but sometimes I'm not able to.
Sometimes it's an exhaustive search and you come up with nothing. I understand. Yeah, I'll certainly reach out to our attorney today and ask about that so I can get the answer for you.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll also get you the contact information for the person that we speak with. So permanent supportive housing is...
So Palmetto Greens to contact for LHC. This is your person for that, and that's...
So the contact that we have with the permanent supportive housing, which works in conjunction with Louisiana Housing Corporation.
Is that a corporation itself?
They're a separate entity. So they can help you with questions in regards to the program, the voucher program. That's project-based voucher program.
So are they informational service entity, or are they are they the entity that could assign money and stuff?
They are the entity that works with those applicants that are on disability or SSDI, and they help them with all kinds of different things. Placement in different apartment communities that accept that project-based voucher, and then of course if they need limit aids, things like that you were asking about. Questions about SNAP benefits and their different income sources.
They're like a social worker, basically.
They do also have social workers that are on staff, and then they work with the financial aspect with LHC directly and getting the vouchers written.
LHC to specifically get their vouchers written.